Hey guys, and welcome back to the INSITE channel. Today in the Crosshairs we have Horvy, from Brazilian prodigy to now a mastermind behind one of the best up-and-coming teams in NA. It's a pleasure to have you on, and also before we get any further, just a massive congratulations. You just won the Thunderpick NA qualifier, so you'll be going over to Europe in like November. That's a huge result, and I think it's like the first big result for you since being on the team. But before we kind of get into all of that, how are you doing today? Like, you literally won it as recording last night. So how are you doing right
Yeah.
now?
For sure. Really happy, right? Also a pleasure to be here talking to you. Uh, it's long way coming, I was literally just away from the game for a huge amount of time, pretty much a year or so. Just took a break, and then coming back and literally in such a short period, being able to help the team and the guys. I'm just super happy for them, even more than myself. I'm just really happy that I can help them, and we could make these improvements to win. Uh, just also always is nice having a little bit more cash in our pockets for sure,
Yeah.
but just being able to have this next experience in the next phase of everyone's careers. Me as the second time as a coach. After a turbulent time in Entropic, and now actually having a real chance to be a coach, not being handicapped. I'm so happy. Also, just having the guys on my side that just trust me, they listen to me. They're people who I know they take accountability when I need them to. So I'm just super pumped to be working with them. I'm just really happy that everything is working the way it is.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, all the comms that were being put on Twitter, you can just tell how happy you guys are. Like, whenever something happened, it'd be like everyone would scream, and that's actually a really cool thing to see in a team. But something I always like to ask, just to kind of like warm into the interview, so we don't go straight into the hard questions. How did you get into CS? Like, was there someone in your family that like showed you CS? I know from like Brazil, CS is quite like a popular thing. Did you start like playing from friends or family, or what was the story there?
Well, pretty much when CS 1.6, 1.5 was on, so 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
Uh, my parents, they owned a LAN cafe in Brazil for gaming. So like was in my city of birth, Curitiba.
Hmm.
And at that moment when was on like the biggest or the second biggest LAN on Brazil to play Counter Strike. Uh, um, and pretty much I was just 4 years old at the time. I'm from '98, so I was literally just a small kid who sit in the chair, dangle his legs around because he couldn't reach the floor. And I just used to play with people there, just have fun. And I used to play random games. Sometimes I would just hop in Counter Strike. People would cuss at me because I had like my name, but it's small cap, so it was like my name is João, but it was like Joãozinho, so it's like a small kid, right? And then I would just like be I remember from this day since I was like 4 years. I remember one scene that I knifed one guy when I was like literally 4 years old, and then the guy was just like screaming like really bad words towards me, and he didn't knew I was like the son of the owner of the land cafe, but everyone was just like laughing
Oh.
at the guy and shit. And so yeah, I think it's just since pretty much I remember things. I had Counter Strike in my life pretty much.
That's pretty cool, but like it did also feel like when you started playing professionally, you had a really fast progression from like 2015 to 2016. You excelled quite a lot in the Brazilian CS. Did this come with any pressure, or because you were like considered as like one of these hot talents? Like, was that motivating you, or was that maybe like a little bit like, "Ooh, this is quite a lot of pressure"?
Um, I don't think my problem was never outside pressure. I really never like from reality words never gave a fuck about what other people thought about me.
Okay.
But the main thing was myself, right? I always regard myself to the highest like status possible to be in,
Mm,
even as just a professional, to like a player itself and just playing well. But at the time, I think I was just too young in my career as a player that I didn't know how to handle my own pressure, right? I didn't know how to handle my own expectations for me. So I would just like over pressure myself, and for sure that was handicapping in some way for me. When I should have known ways to work that better. But outside pressure, For sure, I think everyone who plays would feel some outside pressure when you have some kind of like people talking about you and you want to perform and give a good show. But for sure, was not the main thing for me.
Yeah. And so just before we were talking, like before this interview, we were talking about how you actually had an injury. And that's something I really want
Yep.
to talk about. And I think it's interesting to like note for your career that 2016, you had a injury that on the face of it didn't seem bad, but it actually was something that is literally still with you today. So do you just want to run us through like that whole process of what happened and the struggles that would have actually had not only from the start, but then how it made you and forced you to change how you played CS.
For sure. Well, was a unfortunate situation, right? Pretty much just a kid needed to buy a new monitor, a 244
Yeah.
monitor to play better, be in the pro scene, make a deal with my parents. I pay half, they pay half for me, they help me out. Worked just a part-time job in the kitchen. One day working there, cleaning hours, fall in the kitchen, hit my arm in a weird way, torn labrum. But I only discovered that well 5 years later, pretty much 4 years later. So pretty much when my career as a player was kind of already over and done, and my peak chances already went past me. Uh, so yeah, it was pretty unfortunate for me having that handicap that I didn't know how serious it was. Of course, I knew I was something wrong, right? Because I was just playing in pain, couldn't really play that much as I played before when I was like upcoming, and everything just changed right from just a literal snap on my shoulder. So everything just changed. So from a guy who loved just to be in the game. 15 hours a day just playing that game and just like death matching, running around, surfing, and doing KSD, B hop, and whatever it was always in the game doing something. And then not being able to play deathmatch more than 30 minutes because I would have inflammation in my tendon, my right arm because of it, or not being able even to surf anymore because that fucking crispy movements and just like fast movements sometimes would just like bring me discomfort. So for sure, was for sure a handicap that maybe if I knew how bad it was for real, that's my fault. Also, my first two doctors' fault when I first went there to see what was wrong, for sure. But I should also listen to my body, right, and a little bit
Mm.
more, and said, okay, something that's definitely wrong with me. Um, and but people said, oh, it's tendinitis, or it's just you're playing too much, or it was nothing to do with it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Discovered
And then,
too late.
yeah.
And that's it.
Because like when you were playing on ITZ, you were just INTZ. You were talking to me like when you were doing these like big practices for Pro
Yep.
League. Like, what was so? Was it just like were you actively just sitting in the server being like, I can't play?
Uh, Pretty much I wouldn't say anything to anyone. I would just like be quiet in my own
Mm.
corner in pain for most of the practice. I think, but I think like maybe a polka the coach knew because I feel like always the first pracs I was really good, and after it would just like start to like slowly fall down, and then after it, like sort of just drop performance because pretty much after like say like three practice or four practice, I just couldn't really hold my mouse anymore properly. I would like be my hand would be shaking, things would be like weird. Just have too much pain. Would have to pop anti-inflammatory to try to play the rest of it. So it was actually not healthy, right? Having to use anti-inflammatories pretty much almost every day to play because I just couldn't. I couldn't deal. I could deal with the pain, but I couldn't deal with the feeling that I couldn't hold my mouse at some point, right? The problem at some point wasn't anymore the pain of it. It was just like I couldn't properly hold my mouse anymore. So a lot of times I would be just like try to stretch my hand and move it around. So I remember just a lot of times I was always like the anchor on sites, and I would be like somewhere just like jiggling without my hand not being in my mouse, and I would just be like stretching my hand out and trying to like just like to do something to not have too much pain and be able to hold my mouse when people were coming in. And a lot of times it would just be catch off guard if like and it was just like hit my mouse and it would fly to the side, just like catch it again. So some weird things happen at that point, but yeah, like maybe I can take a little bit of I can take the blame for like maybe didn't take care of it properly. Maybe if I had a bit more support from teams, maybe a lot of things would be different. But it is what it is, you know. I did the best I could at the moment. I did literally everything in my possession to be better. I just didn't have the right ways at the moment. For sure, later on in my career, when I started to work out and go to gym, and then it was when I saw, okay, this is working. I don't have any more, like, I have a lot less pain
Yeah.
now but it was already too late. That was like 2020, 2021. So it was already by in the end. I think people can see that in Imperial, I still had issues. Of course, my arm was not perfect. I think I just took too much time to treat it. I'm not even sure if I want to fully treat it, maybe I'll need to do surgery, because it's a torn labrum, right? It's still torn pretty much.
Mm.
So maybe to be 100%, I would have to do something differently. But I think people can see in general my performance on INTZ was already a lot better than it was in Imperial, was a lot better than what was in INTZ. Just as a player, it's just like a hard situation to be in general, like
Yeah.
not knowing what to do, not knowing what's wrong for such a long time. But like I said, I did what I could. So nowadays I'm pretty proud of it. I remember just being angry back in the past and just being
Mm.
super frustrated about it. But now being a little bit older and just like knowing what's going on, I'm just like I'm really proud of how I dealt with it and how I have done things. Now, of course, you can see it differently, right? But it is
Mm.
what it is.
Yeah, I guess like with time, that's when you can start reflect on stuff when it's like 4 years later and you're in a good position right now, so you can reflect in a positive manner. But so
Mm.
from then when you started playing and you were this like you said to me that people were like comparing you to next called Zero, so you were this big aimer, and then if I'm not mistaken, at one time you were IGLing on INTZ before Pro League. So did you have to change how you played over the course of your career, not because of how you wanted to, but because your body forced you to play different positions because you were like anchoring and lurking on INTZ, right? So did you have to completely change everything up?
Uh, for sure, for sure, for sure. I think the biggest change that I fully regret in my career as positions was when I went from kick to Immortals, that I accept going from an upper who was really successful. So people saw me playing on kick and wanted me to go to Immortals, but I was an upper there, right, on kick. I was playing as an
Yeah.
up, and I was doing super well as an up, and I always felt really good as an upper. Uh, but then just having to accept, I never understood why they made me change positions. Well, I just went over it because it was like a really big opportunity, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I kind of regret it. Maybe if I actually just didn't go to Immortals and just stuck to kick a little bit longer and had maybe a next opportunity as an upper, maybe things would be a little bit differently in my career also. So I think it's just like some decisions that kind of can do make literally things go completely different ways. But for sure, later on, when my injury was just getting worse because I was playing more and more, and when the injury was getting worse in my arm, I had to change the way I played for sure. I was not a big gamer anymore. I couldn't aim the way I used to aim. I had to play a bit more with my brain, and try to surprise people and do like cheeky plays to just get catching them off guard. Because
Mm.
literally for me, one-on-one duels were super hard because I didn't have my aim anymore. It was really annoying for me not having what I was really strong for. So for sure, nowadays it's also good because when someone is struggling with something, I know ways to do some things differently, right, as a coach.
Yeah.
But at the time was for sure not fun. Uh, and yeah, in the comparison things about like being a next star or big aimer, for me like was just like uh, having Kogu talk to me when I went to INTZ the first time in 2016 as a youngster there, and played with like was just a national lineup there.
Mm.
But he was in the team, and I remember he was the guy who went to the airport, and him and the manager went to the airport to get me. And he literally said to me like, I'm gonna take care of you. Like, you're my guy now in Counter Strike. I know you're a really good kid, and so bro, having like, I knew Kogu since like years, right? The
Mm.
big fan of the guy, and like, bro, best probably if not the best CS 1.6 player, for me top three ever in 1.6. Uh, so just hearing that for him was just like, that's crazy, right? And then having him like, yeah, when I went to Immortals and having him like do interviews and talk about, oh, I play with this guy and I think he's the next Code Zero or something. it can be the next big thing. It was like I was really happy, right? But at the same point, when I knew that maybe I was having some limitations on my own, so it's it was nice, but at the same time was really a lot of frustration building up for sure.
Yeah. So going and just looking still at this little early period when you were playing in Europe, when you were playing with Kick, you were playing with the likes of Muterus and Roman. Um,
Yeah.
did like how was it going from Brazil and then going to Europe? Like you obviously had built up this like career in Brazil. Did you feel like you had to reset when you played in Europe? Like you landed quite nicely in Kick, but were you getting that kind of same level of respect when you first went over?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't think most people knew who the fuck I was at that point.
Yeah.
I think even the guys from Kick didn't really know maybe too much. Maybe
Yeah.
some people. I remember I just went to pug with them. I don't know why I went to pug with them. And I was thinking I was playing really well with them when I was pugging with them. And then I think some people from Brazil and people who knew them talked really good about me to them. And then they decided to give me a chance on the team, and I did really well as a rifler first. And then our op at that point, I don't remember who it was, but our op was not doing well, and they felt like he was not at the same level as the other guys. And then they wanted to change, and I said, "Give me the op. I'll make it work. Give me the op." And then I went to op. Things worked out. I think we dominated pretty much the Iberian scene for a little while that year. Had a really good LAN against Space Soldiers. I think we for sure had chances to win that LAN. Uh, but it was just like we had a nice run with them. So after some time, for sure in the Iberian scene, people starting to notice me. Took some time, of course. Was
Mm.
not instantly people respecting me, but after some time, people were for sure, I think, respecting me more. I still feel like some people in the Iberian scene don't really like me. Don't know why, really. Not sure if it's just because I'm from Brazil for real, or if they have some kind of thing against me. But I did just never liked me, and I never knew why. I think I was always pretty nice to people when they're nice to me. Of course, people are not nice to me. I'm not gonna be like open arms to them, of course, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll also defend myself, but I don't know. There's some weird things that happen inside the CS:GO scene when you're from a place and you move to another place for sure. Um, but it's like I don't care really. I'm me, I'll do my job. It's even something I preach to everyone in the team in Wildcard, right? You don't have to be someone else. You just have to do your job.
Mm.
Think as a team. Be a team player, right? Think that you're playing for a team. You're not individual here. You're playing as a team. So if your individual play is gonna make the team play better, you do it. If you're gonna just do something random just for the sake of doing something random, you don't do it, right? You think
Yeah.
as a team, use your brain a little bit more. Uh, so it's always something I preach, and it was something it's how I played before. Uh, and maybe sometimes I think maybe that was an issue in my career. Maybe I was too nice of a guy. Maybe I should have. It was a bit more not so nice as a person and as a team player. Some things would also be differently, and I think sometimes it is what it is. I think we can see a lot of guys in the tier one. They are not the nicest persons in general, right? They're not the nicest people sometimes, and they do really well. They are a lot individual as persons and players, and they do really well because they're really good and they focus a lot on themselves. So I think having a mix of both and kind of stable thing in the middle is nice. But I think I was always more to the team play, and I think maybe that also for sure kind of fucked me a little bit in sometimes.
Okay, that's a really interesting point about how like they didn't like accept you almost. Like is the Iberian scene really clicky or and because of that was that actually maybe why like when Immortals came knocking eventually you were like I don't see a future in this region. I'm going to like go back home type thing.
Um, I think in Immortals I didn't really think about anything. It was just like, okay, it's Immortals, like
Yeah,
gotta
okay,
accept it
okay,
pretty
yeah.
much, and that was it. I didn't really think, oh, like because even like I was literally getting. People think it's a joke, but I remember on Kick, I can talk about now about salaries, but I was literally getting, I think, for most of my time on Kick, I was getting 50 euros a month.
Oh,
50.
sorry. Sorry, you're 50 euros.
Yeah, and by the end of it, when we won a
What?
lot of tournaments already, I was getting 100. So
Oh, okay,
it was
100,
like,
fine.
yeah, like, oh, such a big change, right? So it was
What?
just like, I couldn't do anything, right? I didn't have money to do anything. Even trying to help at home was hard. Uh, then when Immortals come knocking and they offer you pretty much like, you know, a lot more money,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, I can't really like say no. I think that's why probably most of the points were, uh, I did the change of roles, because it doesn't matter if you're really good at one role but you don't have offers for it, right? Like at some point you need to start making some money as a player, right? And you can't live with 50 euros or 100 euros a month. You need more things. So maybe if I was in Kick and I was getting, let's say, 800 a month
Yeah.
or something like that, maybe I would rethink and would say, do I really want to go and change my roles and like lose my style? Maybe I would be different. Maybe I wouldn't have gone there. But I don't know. It's just things that it's just like, maybe, who knows, right? It's a lot of like maybes in it. But yeah, but for sure that could have made a difference in the decision.
That's actually crazy. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
heard like a top like good team being paid 50 euros a month. But 2017, the Wild West.
I don't. To be fair, I don't think it was everyone on the team. I think the other guys like Materials Roman got a lot more than like
Yeah,
100 euros. I think it was just more me and the other guy who was like kind of
experience.
newer to the team.
Okay,
Yeah, but even
still though.
even even like that, like for me, like I was one of the star players in the team, right? I feel like, even thinking now, if at that point I also think, babe, bro, I think I should have been paid a little bit more, right? Now I for sure think I should have paid a bit more than 100 euros, for them, but no, it's fine.
Yeah,
Roman and Mutiris know I fucking love them. Roman for me is a crazy guy, but no, I love him. He's a really cool dude. Mutiris also is a really cool dude. So they know I have the utmost respect for them and for what they did for me, and all the help they gave to me. For sure, learned a lot from them. I think
yeah.
nowadays people see how good they are after like they made Saw and they working with Saw. It, I remember in Mortals, when we were making the players, right? I don't think anyone knows this for real. I don't think I ever spoke about this. But when we were choosing players, there was SHZ who joined us and was Destiny, right? It was between SHZ and Mutiris. We were deciding. It was one of them.
So who would call in
Mutiris
that
was supposed to
roster?
come to Mortals. Still was calling,
Still, so
before
Muterus would
disbanding.
just play
Yeah,
rifle.
Mutiris would just be a rifle, just start a rifle.
Oh my
That
god,
was it.
that's interesting.
Yeah, so I really wanted Mutiris, because I
Yeah.
played with him, right? I liked the guy a lot. Noah also wanted Mutiris, actually. Noah himself. He was like, Noah was the one who brung up bringing Mutiris over. Also, it was not even me. Noah's like, I remember this meeting in the living room, and Noah showed up to the house. I was like, okay, guys, we need to decide like who's gonna be like the player. Right? We need one guy. Uh, and I said, what? He talked to me and said, what about Mutiris? Everyone's like, hmm. Remember, we had the whiteboard and we had like SHZ, Mutiris, and I don't remember who else it was. We have like, a few names. I think it was Azalin also, who was a Portuguese guy.
Mm.
Uh, he was also had his name on the board. So people were watching the Portuguese scene, maybe because they were watching me, so they saw more people that were like good on it. Um, and then I don't know. Mutiris was really good at that point. Also, he's still really good nowadays.
Oh, they're incredible.
Even yeah, even though Roman and Modric are older guys nowadays, they still play in such a high level. Uh, and it's crazy for me how good they still are and how consistent they are in these last, I think, 2-3 years, pretty much with their team. They're always hanging top 30, pretty much. Always there, always being annoying towards big teams, and they're always like having, these things. For me, bro, one of the things that most broke my heart in CS:GO was when Saw didn't make the fucking major because of 0.01
Yeah.
second, man. That clutch from James, it's like, it's insane for me. That was one of the heartbreaking moments that I've ever watched. Even because I know the guys, so for sure, man. But yeah, so that's something new that I think no one spoke
That's
about.
interesting. That's really like so. I wouldn't have guessed that. I can't lie. That's and it's so cool to see the Sword Boys do well because I feel like the whole of the Portuguese scene has been like one roster move away from having an incredible team for like 4 years, and they finally have that with Saw,
Yeah,
and they're so good now. And I genuinely think they could be like a top 15 team because of how good their pieces are. But I thought that's a potentially conversation for another day because I think we could talk for that for quite a while. But leading into
yeah, for
Immortals
sure.
now, maybe one of the most bizarre periods I think I have ever seen in Counter-Strike and I've ever seen to an individual. And I think I can lead into this with saying that you got fucked over by Immortals very hard by like you got the contact, you got the contracts, and then the team fell apart. And I just want to break that down. And I want to start from before you were so when KNG joined, you were supposed to join visa issues. That must have been really hard, right? Because it was something that's completely out of your control. And then you had to sit there on the sidelines and be like, I could have been there when they came second at the major. So like how did that feel for you? And did that kind of like just knock down your confidence a little bit?
Um, well, for sure, like when that kind of things happen, your motivation kind of goes low for a little bit, right? And you're just like really just sad, right? You're sad
Yeah.
you didn't like you worked so hard for the opportunity, and then just like outside factors. It's not you, it's not the team that they don't want you anymore. It's nothing like that. It's just the United States immigration system. Like, what can you do, right? So it was pretty much like, oh, I for sure was depressed for a full week or two after the news. But when I went back to Kick, we started to work again. I started to get my form again, and things started to be normal again. Me getting my 100 euros there and just chilling and just doing my job. So yeah, pretty much, and that was it.
Yeah. And then so when you were going to be brought on, there was a lot of speculation of what your role was going to be in the team. Like, what was it? Were you being brought on as this like sixth man, or were you being brought into the main team? Because it's like articles coming out
Um,
talking about loads of different stuff.
yeah. Now at that point, what was said to me. So everyone has this thing. I think even Kenji one time he did the. By the way, I love Kenji. We
You've
worked
played
really
together
good.
since, and
Like
you've done well together.
we're good
Yeah.
mates. I'll say you one thing. Everyone think Kenji is like bad, a bad guy or whatever. He is the best person I ever played Counter Strike with. Easily, 150%. He's the best guy I ever played. He's the best teammate in INTZ. For me, he was one of the best players in the world when he was playing INTZ. It was crazy the way he played in INTZ. It was fully crazy. People watch all our games and watch Kenji. He was insane, insane. He was. I don't have words, fam. When I was watching, when I died, I was like, okay, let's put in Kenji. Let's like just hang up. But let's watch a show here. And most of the time, I was just like, okay, we won the round. Kenji, it's life.
Yeah.
It's fine. So and one of the best guys ever. But he did an interview and he said like something. Oh, Immortal signing horvy as a six is like shot in the foot or something. But for reality, I was so surprised when that interview from him came out. I was so surprised, like so surprised, because the first thing I said before I signed any contract was I asked Immortals, the management, does everyone in the team know about this? Does they know I'm being signed? It was the first thing I asked. First thing, before even touching the contract, opening the contract on my computer, and all of them said, Every, everyone knows everything is fine. Don't worry about it." I was like, okay, so when can I talk to the guys? Like, put them in their WhatsApp group. I want to talk to them, right? I'm hyped. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, no, no, later on, don't worry. I was like, guys, they all know about me, right? I was like, yeah, they all know, but don't worry about it. When I signed it, and literally the 2 days after, there's the fucking interview from Kenji. So I was like, fuck, they didn't knew about me. So then I'm feeling like a piece of shit, right? Because when I was signing the contract, what was said to me was that I was gonna be subbing for someone in the team and was gonna take someone's places. I was not being brought out as a sixth player. I was gonna be brought out as a fifth
Yeah.
player for someone's spot. But I didn't know who. I had no idea. They didn't say to me who it was. They didn't say anything. They just said, "No, you're getting when you have the P1 visa. You're gonna be in for someone else." I was like, okay, I don't know who, but well, I'll be there, I guess. Uh, that's why I asked them before that if like they knew about me, right? They know what's happening. Well, they didn't know. That was it, pretty much. Then all that that problems that in the team came around for that lineup because of it also. So I kind of felt really bad about it, but like at the same time, I did everything possible on my
Yeah,
powers
you did
to
nothing
make
wrong.
things right. Yeah, and a lot of people just like until this day. Sometimes if I go and comment something on Twitter or like if you have people saying, "Oh, look at the guy who destroyed Immortals" or something. I was like, man, I was the one who tried to save it. Like I didn't want to do anything wrong.
You
I
just
was trying
got a
my
team
best, like to do
offer.
everything correctly.
Yeah, you just got an
Yeah,
offer, and you were
I
like,
put a team
"Down."
offer. I asked all the questions I need to ask. Like they just people were just plain lie to me. So at that point, and that was it. Then I took the blame, bro. A lot of people, I think, in the Brazilian community fucking hate me because like the people, the fans, right? A lot of fans from that
Yeah.
time until this day they see me as like, oh, the guy who destroyed the Immortals or things like that. I was like, man, I didn't do anything. I already talked about this in other interviews, but until this day, people like still sometimes go on Twitter, post something or show up in a chat on Twitch TV, like from anyone like of a bigger player, and they're like, oh, the guy who destroyed the Immortals. Like, man, what do you mean?
This is this guy like this doesn't sound true. That is ridiculous.
For me, nowadays it's really funny when this
Yeah,
happens.
oh,
I
it's
feel
kind of
most of the
funny
time
to look
nowadays,
at it. Yeah.
yeah, for me, I think nowadays most of the time it's just someone just trolling, and I think they know nowadays
Yeah.
because of all the interviews I did and talked about it. But it's still like maybe sometimes it isn't, and they're actually like mad at me, but it's just super funny for me.
Okay, because you were 18, 19, and all of this is happening, and you're
Yeah.
sitting there like surely that must have really affected you. Because like I'm thinking when I'm 18, 19, if that's happened to me, I'm sitting there being like, my whole persona would be changed because of what's happening around me that's not my control. Like, did it affect you, or were you? Yeah, like what happened?
I for sure think close a little bit more myself down a little bit more because you know how Brazilian fans are, right? They are a bit like
Oh
extreme
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
So of course, being appreciating that I understand like our love for things, and sometimes our love can turn to hate real quick.
mm,
It's just how people are in Brazil. That's it. Is our personal, general personality in Brazil? It's like that. The firm defense, and I understand, and that's why I think players also love the fans because when we're doing well, there's nothing better than having Brazilian fans behind you. There's nothing better. But also when you're doing bad or or someone talked something bad about you, there's nothing worse than being in the aims of them, right? But like I love Brazilian fans, of course, right? I'm Brazilian, but it is what it is. It's the reality. I think everyone knows that at this point.
yeah. Oh, this is so fascinating to me. Like all of this, like, it's but I like that must have been really difficult for you during this time. However, so the topic about visas actually. So you were talking to me how like your visa got denied like 4 times. Um, that seemed like a pretty big issue in like 2018 2019 with a lot of people with P1 visas and not being able to get into America. Do you still find it's like an issue maybe for you right now if you're going to go join your like if you're going to go to the lads in Wildcard in America, like is that still a sign that I feel that actually may restrict players going from like Brazil to NA or even EU and stuff like that?
I have to check. Just I have a visa for the US right now. I
Yeah,
have my tourism and business visa.
yeah,
It's until 2028 or 29, so I have for a long time still. I also have my visa for Canada. I have
okay,
both for
yeah,
10 years. So I got them in 2018. So yeah, 2028. So I'm chilling with visas. Of course, if I need to go and work in the US and they want me, they're gonna do like I don't know, we're gonna do something different, and I actually have to move to the US. Then we're gonna have to pursue a P1 visa for me again. Of course, I think already having one in the past, I think it's probably a little bit easier because I
yeah,
renewed my
yeah,
P1 visa like 3 or 4 times. So I guess they still have like maybe some trace of me being in their system there that I had
yeah,
P1
yeah.
visas before. But I already went to the US like I think 2 or 3 times with my normal visa, and I always never have a problem. Had a problem in the US. The only time I had a problem in immigration was in Canada when the guy was just being really annoying. But everything worked out in the end. But yeah,
Nice. And then could you then break down for me like a little bit of what happened in Immortals when you actually joined? Because it felt like you got thrown into this sinking ship that lasted like 3 weeks, and then you got stuck in this contract hell in America while being in this new house you were talking to me as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old in a mansion by himself. Could you just kind of break down what happened when you joined? The fact that you had like the pro league slot and you had maybe like a team that could be rebuilt, but everything just in like 3 weeks just went kaboom, and your career took a big hit for something that wasn't your fault.
Yeah, so I'll talk like is what I think. I don't know if it's reality for real,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think both Zach and maybe Lucas still they didn't like. I think they were just it just was a weird time in the team because of everything that happened before people came.
Mm,
Me, Destiny, SHZ, like it was just really weird, really weird, really weird. So we just was just no, just weird. It was just like no one was. I always felt like no one was really comfortable. People were maybe angry at each other, like between them, not me or the other guys. Just like between them, they were kind of mad at each other for things that happened the way it happened. And I don't feel like the team ever had a chance to work. Never. It was like I had the feeling when I went there and I arrived, I had the feeling, okay, I'm fucked. I kind of already had that feeling that like, bro, this is not gonna work out. That something's fucking really wrong with this team. Uh, Things are broken. You could just see if you were there, you could just see like something was wrong, right? Uh, I had fun with the guys when the team was there and we actually do together. I had a lot of fun with them. Both is a really funny guy. Also, even people who think he's not, he's still the way he is just funny. Uh, and also still is a really nice guy. You know, I really like him, and I always had really nice conversations with him. Uh, Zach, the best coaches ever had for sure. Amazing guy, really fun guy, just a mastermind also. So I always individually, I always liked everyone there, but I could just feel like something was weird between, like in the team. It was like I was not sure if it was between them and the organization, between them and also the organization. So I think it was everything together was like weird there. But I don't didn't really have time to do anything. We didn't have time to practice, so we just got thrown in the fire. I think it was the major qualifiers. We threw the game that we were. If we won the game, we qualified and we threw it. We completely threw it. It was horrible. We just threw it. We choked the game out, and I just remember everyone was so sad. Everyone was frustrated and was just like they were just like everyone was just like, bro, it's fucked. And after it, everything
yeah.
just went downhill more and more and more. We still sometimes though. I remember one game against NRG that I really was one game that I don't remember what happened. I just said to ZQK, let me op this game, and I just got I got the op. I went an overpass, and I was really good. I killed everyone in that game, and we won. And when we tied the series 1-1, because the pro league was like best of two
That's the
at that
twos,
time.
yeah.
So yeah, it was one team picked one map, the other team picked another map. You play it. I just remember we won the overpass. We were so happy. When we went to other map, got shit on, unlucky,
Oh,
but we got the 1-1 at least. So we're pretty happy about it. I was super happy to be played, and I don't know. I don't know. I was just, I was in my natural habitat. I had the op. I was an overpass that I love. I was just there, just like jumping around and shooting people with it. I was pretty happy how I played. Uh, that's probably my best memory in Immortals actually. That game.
one map,
Uh,
one map.
yeah, that's it. That's my best memory in Immortals. Um, of course, the organization had all the like the cool things and it had like the all the structure behind it, but I never really got to use it right by the time I was
Yeah,
there. Yeah, but when everything was ready and all the structure was ready, the team was non-existent. It was just me now. So
yeah.
was it?
That was because that like period when it was just you were in contract. Was there any effort to
Yeah.
rebuild the team, or were you literally just in America sitting there being like, I actually can't do
Nah,
anything?
no, because I already knew. Uh, I already knew by that time. So by December, January, I think it was December. It was by December. I already knew that they were gonna become MIBR.
Yeah.
I already knew Immortals was gonna be in my BR. I already knew Fall and the SK guys were coming over, and I remember before that, literally the day I discovered that, before knowing that, I begged Noah to build a new team for me, and
Oh,
not for me, for
okay.
organization, right? But I begged me, bro. I remember I wanted to. I love playing Freiberg on FPL, and I remember he was NA or something. And when I was in
Yeah.
EU, a lot, I was like, bro, I can't. I was like, no, please, I can talk to Freiberg, man. Like, we can build something like decent. And but then, like, no, we're not gonna build around the Immortals. We have another plans. And then I discovered the MIBR. I was like, shit, it's
Ooh.
over for me here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but and then, like, is there any chance I can be like a 6 player and just like learn? But like, no, they don't want it, and I was like, shit. Okay. Then they tried to sell me. Actually had 2 or 3 teams trying to buy me at one point. Uh, I remember I had interest from Ghost at one point, but I remember their manager just said, "Bro, they're asking too much." They were asking like $50,000 from me at that point, and for me, who didn't prove shit yet,
That's a lot.
I think it was too much. It was too much money. I understand. I've said, bro, I understand you. I'll talk to them, but I don't think I can do shit about it. Then I remember was the I'm not sure if you remember the Imperial team with Esperanto, the EU European Imperial. There was
Yeah.
Esperanto.
Yeah, they made the RMRs,
Was
right? Or
Yeah,
the
yeah,
minors
they were a
then.
really
Yeah.
good team,
They were good, yeah.
and they had qualified for 4 DreamHacks.
They won one of
Four
them
DreamHacks. So it
with
was like,
Neil M.
yeah, yeah, and they asked me to play the 4 DreamHacks with them. That's real.
Ooh.
Neil, now who works for Faceit, he was the one I
Yeah.
was talking to, and he was their coach. And I was supposed to play the DreamHacks with them to test, and they just didn't get a deal done with Immortals to loan me. Immortals was asking like 15K for each tournament that I played with them at that
What?
point or something. So I was just stuck there, like, bro. I said to him, bro, no one's gonna pay that for me, bro. I didn't prove shit here. Like, I didn't even play good. Like, I was playing in a random position that I'd never played in my life. I had to deal with like the thing broken down, and I never had a fighting chance on this. Uh, and then bro, at some point I was like, bro, I give up. I just gotta. I remember the only time I actually had a chance to play, and it was not Immortal's fault, was the phase thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
what was that about?
for for Belo Horizonte. I was supposed. So pretty much, I was back from LA. I was here in Portugal. I was playing EUFPL. I was destroying people in EUFPL at that point. I was really good. I remember I had a cash game against like was me and Nico, and once like like say like big guys that I know. Like it was me, not big guy, small guy, but it was me and Nico and one team, and the other team was Simple and Zaivu. And it was a cash game, and I killed 37, 16, 14. And
Okay.
then next game is a Dust 2, and I think it's also against Zaivu again, and I killed like 30 again. After like 2 hours after I stopped playing, I was just chilling in my PC watching YouTube videos. I just got a pop up messaging myself from Twitter. It's like, Nico followed you. I was like, the fuck? Like, shit. And then literally like 5 minutes after, Nico's messaged me in Twitter saying, "Yo, do you wanna play with us like in ECL Belo Horizonte?" And like I literally said, "Bro, you like, it's a prank, right?" It's literally on my Twitter message. It's like, I literally, "You pranking me, right, bro?" Like, "No, bro, for real and shit." I was like, "What do you mean? What do you think, bro?" Of course I want the
Yeah. You're just there like you're just looking at your phone, you're like, uh, what? You're like,
yeah,
sorry?
yeah, no, I was exactly like that. I was like, "The fuck? Of course I want, bro." Um, and then it was just like a question of like, I they had all my data to buy to send to ECL to get the flight, and everything was done.
Yeah.
I think the contract the loan contract from Immortals to them was also ready. They had agreed on price and everything. Uh, of course, for Phase, they wouldn't care about how much money it was. They were
Yeah,
just
they
paying
got
them
so
fucking
much
right.
money.
It was Phase kind of at that point. So uh, I just remember that it was pretty much okay. okay, we have everything. And Nico just like, okay, we have everything pretty much ready to go. Just waiting for something. And then like literally like 2 hours later, he's messaging him saying, "I'm so sorry, man. Unfortunately, was what was the name of the guy? The Norwegian guy who played with them in
Croman.
ESL Builders.
Croman.
Croman, yeah.
Yeah.
So Croman decided he's gonna play with us because he doesn't.
Huh?
He's just gonna go without the yellow fever vaccine. He didn't want to go before he had to play with Heroic or something, a tournament, and then Heroic just benched him before it because he
Yeah.
completed for phase or something without like talking to him properly. And then pretty much was like, we unfortunately like we're gonna play with Chrome because already they played the ECS with him before,
Yeah.
just like a few days before. So they talked to me because he Croman, by what they know, he wouldn't be able to play with them because he was going to play in China with Heroic tournament or something that they were playing at that
Okay.
the same dates as ECL and Yem Cologne or something, or one of the two. But then he got benched, or like I don't know what the fuck happened in Heroic, and then he just decided to go to Brazil without the yellow fever vaccine that was needed and just take the risk. And then just that happened. So yeah, I was pretty fucking lucky that situation for sure. Yeah, I was pretty sad about it for sure. Man, playing
Yeah.
phase in my home country, like it wasn't HLTV. It was like, okay, Harvey ready it's gonna play for phase and ECL Belo Horizonte. I was the contract was I was gonna play ECL Belo Horizonte and ECL Cologne. So you can imagine how bad that was when that shit didn't
Man.
happen. So because I was like, I swear, if I went there, I was gonna destroy people because I was feeling so confident on myself. Of course, you're feeling confident. You're playing against Zaifu and Simple, and you're doing really well
Oh,
multiple times. So it was just like, for sure, that situation broke me a little bit. I think even more than Immortals. I think it broke my soul a little bit more, for sure. But yeah, that was it. That was all the situations, the unfortunate situations that happened during my Immortals contract period.
did you
A lot of
like?
them.
I was gonna say, did you just sit there and go like, "I'm cursed"? Like, I'm actually just cursed because of
I
like
remember I
how
almost
bad it
broke
was
my hand.
going from like
I
breaking
smashed my
point.
hand. I smashed my hand on the fucking table from my gaming table on my mouse pad. I'm lucky I smashed over my mouse pad because I remember I used a heavy KSUK heavy mouse pad. It's really
Yeah. Oh,
thick.
the really thick ones. Yeah, I
Uh,
actually have one
yeah,
right there.
yeah. So it was that one was really thick, and I don't. I just smashed my table so hard, and my table was a wood piece of like this
Yeah,
fucking
that's what
size. So
I
it
got
was
now.
really hard. It was really hard, and I smashed that with all my frustration, anger built from fucking three failed things. And for sure, I think if the mousepad wasn't there, I think I would have broke at least my this because I just smashed with this part of my hand.
Yeah, it's like really sensitive. You pull
It,
the muscle like
yeah,
right there.
yeah, it was for sure swollen for a day. For sure, it was swollen for a day.
How hard did
But
you
yeah,
hit your hand? That is
pretty hard.
Jesus.
You can imagine
Yeah.
how mad I would
Oh,
be if I could would that should happen.
yeah. Okay, so you
Uh,
then finally had something like go well. You joined INTZ. I just want to ask, what was your role actually going to the team? Because were you IGLing at the beginning and then Phelps took it over?
so the role that my talks was always to Apoka pretty much,
Yeah.
and just talk with him, and then was pretty much the idea was for me to IGL, right, and come in and IGL as a new IGL and just build myself as an IGL and work myself.
Okay.
I really wanted to actually. I was like fucking feeling it. I was hyped to it, right? Having
Why
the
though?
opportunity in different ways. I don't know. I was always a guy who was kind of a nerd in game, and always was like thinking about strats, about what we can do. I always help all my teams. I always help the RGL think and call, and every team I played, I was always calling something to help, or like I was giving strats, or like or just like I was, or just even nowadays, I just sit on the servers for some hours, just showing random nades until I found something interesting, like or just testing different things. We have a run boost on Vertigo that no one does, no single team does. That I found out how to do it to pick ramp. If you go watch, I'm not sure if you did last game, but it's something that it's our thing, right?
The one where
I
you
never
on the
saw everyone do it
CT side, you're run
on the seat
boosting down
on
and
the
you go
from
down.
we No, we do it from. It's a run. See, you didn't even know what the run boost is. We did. It's a run boost from. It's from the crane. So we have the both first two spawns from city running towards crane, and he run boosts the up to sidewall to yellow from there. Because in the ledge of the crane,
You
you
have
can go in. One guy can be in front of the crane, in the corner, and the other guy can go in the top of like where people when the city is holding normally, and the
yeah.
like just in the corner on side, and he jumps from there from the side of the crane to the head of the guy, and he just run boosts the guy straight like to the fucking side hall, so the yellow part. So he has that gives the op so much time to peak. So if you have the perfect response to do it, Keller can just kill the guy so easily, pretty much. It's a free kill.
How did you find that?
Refrag, just
Oh,
run boosting
okay, yeah.
refrag. I'm just, bro. After we got refrag as a sponsor, I just sit there and I just have the bot run boosting me everywhere to try to find a different like thing we can do with it. And I'm just, bro. I just do random shit sometimes on the server, and sometimes I find cool stuff. The guys know. They call me the lineup guy, because every time we have like people see a set of nades from someone, and I see, bro, this shit is hard, or like it's not the best way to throw it. I'll go and I'll find a better lineup pretty much for them. They're like, we don't even need like a refrag. We have you. I'm like, bro. Like I'm complete nerd about nades and things like that. I just like to discover things. I'm curious about shit, and I just like that's why I'm hoping I have the CS2 fucking beta soon, because I want to try things that I don't have the beta yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so weird. I
I'm
hate it
like,
how people are getting this like in intervals.
it's so random.
Yeah,
It's random. Like,
I don't have it, and I'm just like I've committed 8 years of my life to this
yeah,
game,
hey,
and I don't like
we're
what.
in this together.
Yeah,
12,000 hours later, I still don't have it.
just like yeah, that's not enough. You maybe need like 15,000 at least. But so
Yeah,
you actually stopped becoming an IGL though when you were in INTZ, and it was talking about
yep.
how like you could focus on the game more. Do you feel like you could have been a good IGL? You just needed more like maybe like a less intense thing to like soften you in, or
I think the problem. I don't want to say who it was the problem. I think people know how it is. Some people, or some people were in the team. It's just like I don't think people trusted me like Apoka did to be agile. I think Apoka fully trusted me. Like I was capable of becoming a really good agile.
yeah,
Uh, I don't think everyone in the team did though. I think people maybe thought I was too inexperienced and I couldn't do it. So I never felt trust on it, right? I got a lot of blame in the team for losing the Chicago qualifier in the finals to LG. We got smashed at them. It was like 16-3, 16-4. We got completely smashed it.
how
But
can you
when we
blame
have two
anyone
star
on that?
plays, yeah, but when I got really blamed for it. So I was like, and when Apoka asked me to talk to Phelps, so he should do agile. I was like, if it's better for the team, I don't have an ego, right? I'll go talk to him. I'll ask him to be the agile, and I'll just do the shitty roles again. Um, that's what I did. I was like, I'll do it. I'll give me all the anchor roles, the shitty roles, the roles that if I need to die, I'll be there. Uh, really nothing. That was it. Plain and
So
simple.
even though you had really good success in INTZ, and it's probably the most successful period for you as an individual when you were playing, did you actually feel like it wasn't the right fit, and you felt like this wasn't like your home because people didn't trust you in the team, and now you're having to play anchor? Like you were playing, like I watched some demos last night. You were playing like anchor support lurk.
I think INTZ, first, it was the worst period of my career for the injury.
Yeah,
Was worst period for sure. Like, was too much pain. Couldn't fucking do anything. It was horrible. Couldn't play deathmatch. Couldn't do shit. It was completely horrible for me. Uh, also, um, my confidence was at the lowest point for sure. I didn't have any confidence in myself anymore. I was fully like I just like I didn't trust myself to do shit. I was like playing scared. I didn't trust my aim. I didn't trust my reads. And then I was a lot of times I would have the right read. I was like thinking the right thing, and then I did something different because I would just imagine someone in the team talking something to me bad because I did that decision. And then I was just like doubt myself, and then it was just like it was for sure not the right fit of person for me to develop as a player. For sure, I don't think. I think I just got the right people with me at that point. Not everyone in the team for sure. Most of you guys were really helpful, but for me, just for me, nothing
Okay.
against anyone. The team for me was not the right thing, not the right place to be at that point. For sure, mentally, after it took me so much time to recover from that period, mentally, a lot of time. For sure, like I would say, I actually recovered mentally from my period there. Um, I think it took me over 2 years. I was damaged goods for sure from what happened to the team. Uh, it was just super tough on me. It was super tough on me. Even in 2018, when I went back to Brazil for Reapers, for sure I wasn't myself. I was acting like someone that I wasn't. I was trying to be like a ego guy and trying to. I, I think I was just trying to get out of my own head. So I was trying to act different, but I'm not like that. So I was like going interviews and saying, I'm gonna be the best player in Shield, or I want to be the best guy here. No one's gonna touch me, and I'm just not like that. But that's the point where I knew something was wrong in my mind. That I was mentally broken at that point. Um, and after having the thing in the end of the year with Brute, I think you know Brute J, right? The kid who died in Brazil, the player. I was really close to him in Reapers. I said he was my little brother, and I was gonna take care of him. I remember one time he had the opportunity to go play in NA in a Brazilian team when we were in Reapers, and Reapers didn't want to lower his price to sell him. And I was like, bro, if you want, I'll start you out. I'll fight for you, and we're gonna do something, and we're gonna fucking go, man. And you're gonna play. But then the end of things, he decided not to go anymore. But like I was ready to do anything for that kid, man. His mother know how much I care about him for sure. I still to this days some days I message his mother, and we talk for sure, not as much as we talked before, but everything I can to do to like help their family get like justice for whatever happened there and with him. I will always be there for them for sure. But for sure
Okay.
was also
Yeah.
really tough on me mentally. At that point, I was already really down on myself and just depressed. And when I actually got fat at that point, I was getting really fat. I was like I'm like 178, so I'm not short, but I'm not really tall either. I'm
Same as
like
me. I'm
normal
like
standard.
same. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
same that.
yeah. So I was pretty much like just weighing like 95 kilos, pretty much 90, 92 kilos, but just I was just fat, not muscle at all. I was not going to gym, not doing anything, just ordering McDonald's, SIE, anything I could eat. I was eating all day, and I was depressed, man. Really, it was tough. And then what happened to Brute? I started when I got the news. I remember I had a panic attack. Um, it was just tough. But I was around my mom here, so kind of I talked to my mom a lot about things, and I told her how I felt, and for sure having parents who understand their work and how bad can be sometimes. It's not like if you, of course, oh, you're getting paid to play games, bro. It's of course it's. I don't have anything bad to say. I love the shit, but mentally, I don't think we choose what can fuck us in the head, right? It's hard. When it catches you, and you can't do shit about it. You're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna be depressed. You're gonna not do anything. But you gotta know if you have the right people around you, you can get out of it. For sure, nowadays, I feel like really good. I don't have any more. Don't feel the same way I did before. I'm so happy again. I was just sad playing Counter Strike for such a long time after 2019 that I didn't feel like doing shit anymore. So now being able, I told the guys last night when we won, I told you guys have no idea how much you guys gave me back. Like just this feeling of actually enjoying and being there and just being happy again for doing something I fucking used to love before. And even though I don't play the game anymore, I just enjoy it so much being a coach and just I said I have so much enjoyment in being able to help these guys. For me, it's just amazing.
How were you able to bounce back though after that? Firstly, I'm so happy to hear that you're back on that like enjoyment, and like I'm really sorry to hear just like it seems like you had just like 4 years of just like nothing went your way in any way, shape, or form. And it's sick to see you INSITE now where it's like it's clicking, it's working. But after that, like you said, 2 years, like 2020, how were you able to like mentally reset and actually start enjoying CS? Because I feel like a lot of people at that stage would just stop and just go.
I think a lot has to be with, for sure, talking to my parents, girlfriend, everything. Just like going to the gym. Also, I preach this a lot. I feel like going to the gym for sure saved me at some point. Like for sure, like it made me like want to do things again and feel better about myself. And just it just helps your brain, just like have that endorphin go to your brain because you're doing exercise and shit. It's just I literally just enjoy going to the gym and focusing, having my own time, having my headset on, you listen to some music, just lifting weights. I fucking love to lift heavy and on my own strength, but and just like enjoying like. Of course, I'll get injured sometimes. So I'm not lucky, really, but it is what it is. Just I love it. And for sure, I think it was just a combination of everything: talking to people, uh, being the most open I can, of saying that I feel like shit when I felt like shit, and just having someone to talk about, and being able to have the kind of just relationship that I have with my parents, that I could just go to them and say, I'm feeling fucking depressed, like I'm feeling like shit, I don't want to do anything. Uh, for sure, I don't think every time I said that my parents fully understand. For sure, I think my
Yeah.
parents are like they're 50 now, so they're a bit older generation. But for sure, they try their best to help me the way they could. I'll say I probably fucked up for not going to like actually like specialist about it. But should have done that. Probably I would recommend for sure people who are struggling with that to go and talk to some a specialist. But if you have the right people around you, I think you can get better. Also, just I think it was just a combination of everything, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was, I don't even know how the fuck it worked out the way it did.
So do you feel like now as a coach, those like hardships actually have now put you in a position where you're because realistically this wildcard team's quite young. Like they might have like experience in NA, but they're young age. They've played like ECL, maybe like I know Darty's gone to one RMR and like that is experience. However,
Mm.
the experience you've got from all this time with just everything, do you feel like you are impacting these guys so much outside the game, even though like you said you're doing loads inside the game, and we'll get onto that, but outside the game, are you actually just doing so much for them, and it's actually helping you a lot?
Uh, for sure. I see, like, I already know what's happening in their mind, what they're thinking about. I think
Yeah,
yesterday, a few very ago, like Dardy, he was literally just punishing himself for having a bad map,
yeah,
and I literally messaged him and told him, like, don't worry about it. Like, things not always gonna go our way. We didn't lose the map because of you. We lose the map because we played like shit as a team, and we didn't have proper communication. So the only thing you can do in this situation is just like focus on yourself, focus on playing for the team, have the right mindset. Just think a bit more before you do a play, and just think how you should be able to communicate a little bit better. So just coming a little bit more harder next game, and just like I just said, bro, we didn't choose you because you're a star player and you're gonna kill 30. I choose you because you're a solid guy and you're a solid person. And you're a good person and you know how to act. So I just need to be solid. That's something. I just need to be you, bro. I don't need anything else from you. If you do the right plays, I told him, I'm always preaching for high percentages on our team, right? So I
mm,
literally just went to him and told him, if you just do the right plays, play the high percentage, things will work out for you. And then he said thank you for me after the series, because things did work out for him. The other two maps, they played a lot better. he just always preaching for composure on our team. We had a lot of people not raging but losing their shit a little bit sometimes in their early parts. We still do sometimes. It's normal. Like people get frustrated and do maybe scream a little bit or do like a little table smash. It's kind of normal, right, for most teams.
Yeah.
But for sure, I think people understand now how important it is to be composed, even if you get fucked and things are not working. But we gotta be composed and doing the best as we can as a team, and then things will start to work out again for us, and just trust ourselves. So I think for sure, I just try to preach uh, what I think and what I learned from my career, pretty much. Of course, when I first came to the team, like, man, I could see like NACS is behind a lot of things. I for sure
Yeah.
they are behind a lot of things. Even when if you play pugs in NA, like face it level 10, people
Oh,
don't
it's
call their
awful.
flashes. People
Yeah, it's
people
awful.
don't they don't know a lot of basic things that you should be doing as like as players. Uh, I was surprised when like you were not used to calling like flash pops. So pretty much in any pug you go play in level 10, it's like 3000 elo, and someone flash, they gotta say pop when the flash is popping, and they never have done that. They even they like was not something there. Even for the team was not something. So it was something first day I introduced that. It's like, okay, everyone's calling their pops because we need to know we're introducing the flash, we're calling pop flashes, and we're also calling nade usage from the other team. We need to count nades from the other team. It was just basic shit that it's just not into NA really. Some things that are basic. So I think that's why people saw we have a big jump from like 1 week to another, because we just tried to do with the basics. I said, guys, before we go into the like other shit, we need to get our basics straight up. Like we need to fix the shit. We need to have a better basics. We need to work a little bit harder on this part of the game and just think more as a team and not individuals. Like you're not a pug here. You're a team. You have to think like what is worth more, me staying alive or getting one more kill.
Yeah.
Like so was the things I was preaching for them every day. I was super annoying with flash pops for them for a full week. I was every day someone didn't call a pop, I was like, man, call your pops, guys.
Yeah.
Remember, flash pop. So I was like just always on their ears, and then they start to do it and get used to it, and now it's more just it's just like being normal for them now.
Which is good. Yeah, I know, like, because I'm like 2.7 kilo now, and whenever I pug with someone who's like either NA pro or like was in NA and is like in Europe for like Playerbrook or something, they always say how like our pugs are literally better than scrim sometimes. Like the team play and the
For sure. I
communication
can talk
is
for sure.
literally better in a premium in a, like a 3 stack premium, which I find like that's crazy to me when I'm just 2 hours past 2 weeks is better than a scrim. I'm like, okay, bro. Um, but I want to talk about actually how you got into coaching, because you finished up Imperial and that all seemed like it was going pretty well. But then you finished up Imperial and then you go into coaching, and like what was the thought process behind that? And was it because you'd always liked this? Like you were saying, like you're like nerdy in the game.
Uh, well, first, like the Imperial thing was pretty much like everything was going well. We went back to Brazil. I think we won 4 out of 5 tournaments in the end of the year, so pretty good, right? Did pretty well. And then we got the news that oh, we're gonna get Fallen's team. Unlucky guys. See you, see you again sometime
Unlucky.
soon, maybe. Yeah. So like we understand, right? Even though like I got really frustrated because, like, man, I can't believe, like, I'm in a team, I'm doing well, the team is doing well, we're winning tournaments,
You
and,
won
like,
like 4 in a
we're
row.
getting booted again. I think it was 4 in a row or something. And then, like, we're getting booted. Like, why? Like, god damn it, bro, how is this going to be happening again? Uh, then I kind of just gave up. I have to be honest. I was just like, bro, I think I'm actually cursed. Like, no way this is happening again. Well, I was just like so mad at the situation. Like, I'm not gonna play again. Fuck it. I'm not playing. Fuck this. I'm retiring. And then I just like, oh, maybe I should try to be analyst. So the situation was, I want to be analyst first. I didn't want to be a coach. My thing was I want to be just a nerd analyst behind the teams and just work. Then, like any normal person, I didn't have any contacts in Tropic Crush. The way I did was I went to the website, got the email, messaged them, bro. I have this experience. I played for this team, I worked this type of I'm a this type of guy, and I just did a normal like job application pretty much. And when they got back to me, I did a month tryout or something. It was pretty annoying to be a month. Please, or any organization watching this, never do a fucking month tryout of anyone
It's so
without
long.
paying them. So I was there just doing a tryout for tryout, and then they didn't have a coach anymore. And then I was the guy who was with them in the practice, but I was not coaching. I was just like kind of watching and seeing like our problems and just kind of giving. In the end, I was just like pointing things out. And then out of nowhere, the manager, CS:GO manager, comes to me and says, "Do you want to be a coach?" I was like, "Does it pay more a little bit?" Sure. I already had the
€50?
idea of being no. I already had the idea of being a coach, but I was like, at first, I wanted to be like more experienced as an analyst first. I want to grab more experience, just like being behind a coach and just like watching
Yeah.
how it works. And of course, I had a really good coaches for my career, but I actually want to be more in depth and watching more like inside the scenes how they work, to then apply to be a coach, right?
Yeah,
Or to
naturally.
get like upgraded to a coach. But they didn't find a coach. They needed one. So like, well, I'll do it.
Oh.
Bring me in, boss. I'll do it. I'll be the one. I'll try my best. I said I don't have experience. Therefore, I don't have experience as a coach. Is helping my like newbie friends who played random tournaments, and when they needed help, I would go and coach them. But that was it, right? But I said I was always the nerdy guy on the team. Maybe I can pull this off. So let's give it a shot. Then I tried out for more days as coach. People liked it, thought it was at the start. Uh, and then we did the contract agreement, salary, everything was good. I was happy with everything. Uh, and then I just didn't have autonomy as a coach anymore. I just like the management just didn't give me power enough to deal with people in the team. So pretty much was like I knew what the team needs, the changes the team needs on that point in the Tropic Prague project. I knew what was the problems. They had so many problems. Like
Yeah.
I don't. If you remember, they had Regin before me.
Yeah.
Who was the coach for heroic, right? Or mouse sports? I don't remember right now. I think
Mouse
it was mouse
sports.
sports.
He was mouse sports, yeah.
And then he worked for them, and then they have a rough period with him. And then when I went there as a coach, I feel like I had the autonomy of a analyst. Like I wasn't respected, and people didn't want to listen to me because they thought I was outdated or something. The way I was thinking, but when I was just checking like the personalities on the team. I knew the team was never gonna work the way it was. The players in the team was never gonna work together. It was too many issues as personalities. People didn't want to improve. They want to be the way they were. It was like I can't do anything. Like if people don't listen, if they don't want to listen even to the esports psychology guy, like what can I do, right? People didn't want to listen to anyone. So it was like I always felt like the situation I was always talking to a wall. And
Yeah.
then pretty much I was like everything we do a boot camp of 20 days, play some tournaments, kind of do medium bad, and we come back home. And then I thought like, okay, we need to really work on. I was pushing for people to change, and I for sure I was being really annoying because I wanted people to change, but I think that's kind of my job as a
You
coach, right?
have
I
to
need
be,
to make
yeah.
people better.
You can't be a good
And
guy when
I
you're a
was
coach.
being
Yeah.
no, I was being for sure rough on them because it was so bad. Like we were so bad. We were horrible. Yeah, that's the fucking thing. Like I have to play everyone. I don't need to hide it because if you go and check HLTV, that's the
Not
story.
great.
Like
Not
we
great.
were horrible. It was just like we're just a bad team. We didn't work well as a team. We didn't want to fix our mistakes. We want to be the same person we were the last day, even though if you were a bad person. And no one wanted to work the way I would and wanted to. No one wanted to improve the way. No one wanted to make the change I wanted to. And then out of nowhere, just one random day, the general manager just messages me and I need to talk to you. And then some people went to complain about you and they want to take you out of the team. That was it. And then we made a deal. I stayed there working as a talent analyst, and I did a lot of documents for them about like talents and things like that, and just more of an analyst. I helped them build their entropic youngsters or something that was like the new kids, like 14-year-old,
14-year-olds.
15-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Played
and I
open
helped
and
them
then
like watch
right.
some people and maybe build a little bit there. Uh, that was it pretty much. I just got like, yeah, I'll be honest, I felt like I just got backstabbed out of nowhere. That was it. Didn't have a chance. Then I just like agreed on the way I wanted to leave. Finished my contract, and that was it. Nothing more to it, pretty
That
much.
sounds
I think it was just a bad bad experience. With didn't fit well together. I guess people didn't believe me as a coach, and people didn't want to try to believe it. I think they wanted to be the way they are, and well, I think nowadays we maybe can see who was right or wrong.
yeah, because Entropic Prague and Entropic as an organization, I feel like I'm making bad decision after bad decision. Like every time I see a new roster, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? But okay,
It's
so
a lot of changes, right?
yeah, they've got this new roster that I don't think it's announced, but it is confirmed. Like they have got a 5. I know it's a 5. I don't know. I think Forzy's the AWPer. It's a weird roster, but it might be good. It might not be. However, so coming towards an end now, because I realize we have long conversation and it's been like I've really enjoyed it. So I'm very sorry if it's kind of taken up some of like if we got
No problem.
this
Don't
has
worry.
been a very interesting conversation and talking about wildcards. So you haven't actually been in the team for that long. You've been in the team for like a month, 2 months max, and we haven't done
2
too
months.
much. 2 months, yeah. And like, firstly, just kind of what was the reasoning behind going to an NA team? Because this seems like quite a random team to go to. And what were your expectations? Because obviously people can joke around and be like, haha, NACS, and like you were talking about like there's really simple things of flash pop. So like what were your expectations going into that roster and how did that kind of like come about?
Uh, First, I just want to say the guys are fucking amazing players for sure. For
Yeah.
sure, you can't really blame them for some things. I think it's just like the region that was maybe lack opportunities for sure. But in general, how it worked was I was fully retired, didn't want to do anything with CS, but I never could let it go. I was always watching demos. I was watching the tournaments. I was watching things, players, and streams, and just I was always in the game still, even though I was trying to let it go. So I
Yeah.
just couldn't let it go. So at some point, I was just like, I was talking to my mom. I was like, I think I want to do something again. Yes, I don't know why, but
He was like, not
I think I
again,
want to
not
be a
again.
coach again. Yeah, pretty much like, oh, not again. You're doing like well in uni and things like that. Oh no, like, but then she actually supported me. It's like, if you just gonna make you happy, do it. And I was like, I think it's time. I think I'm feeling good. I'm hyped to be in CS again. I want to do it. Like I want to work, right? I want to make like a good team. I want to make people better. Like I want to just be there. Uh, and then I was, I message. I have a guy from Brazil. He's owner of the Peak Agency from Brazil. Is
Oh,
Rodrigo.
yeah.
Rodrigo. He's like a lawyer. Um, and when I was talking to him, bro, like, man, do you think I could come back to coaching? Like, do you know any teams that maybe like need a coach and things like that? And so I'm thinking more about NA because of my times and like just my times, the time zone. Then I can kind of do my university in the afternoon, and then I can go in the night and in the late nights and just practice. So it's just more also just like a time management thing that I
Hmm.
knew I couldn't be in a pro roster in Europe because of the time zone. Of
Oh,
course, if
okay.
someone comes up for me and offer me like 3,000 euros, 5,000 euros, or something like that, I was like, okay, I'm stopping uni for now.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I knew that was not going to be the case, never, because I was just away from it for a year. No one had the idea if I was actually knew the new meta. I didn't even play Anubis on Imperial, so I had no clue about the map, pretty much. But I
Yeah.
was watching it, so I kind of knew what was
You
going
can
on because I
understand,
was
yeah.
watching the demos and things like that. Yeah. So I remember I messaged him, and then we talked a little bit, and then I remember that a few months ago, when I was retired, Jeremy, who's our coach, no, our manager, sorry, uh, messaged me when he was working for another organization, and he was asking me if I wanted to coach his team. And at the time, I said, bro, and now I'm done. Sorry, and just like no, just threw to the side. And then I want to see again, like okay, let's see what Jeremy's doing because I knew him and I knew he was the manager of a team. I was like, okay, he's working for Wildcard now. Like, oh, Wildcard is in NA. Okay, I remember I already watched Wildcard play before against Brazilian teams when NA. So like I know they have potential because I remember watching it. I remember they were always a little bit annoying against Brazilian teams. So I was like, interesting. Like, I'll message Jeremy and ask if they're needing a coach. And then I messaged him and I said, hey man, I'm thinking about coming back to coaching, back to CS and things like that. I would really love to work with you again. I really appreciated our time together and doing other projects and things like that. And then he was like, we're just trying out the coach right now. I'll talk to you like in a few days. And then the other coach didn't want to deal with the time zone because he was from Europe, I think, also, and he just didn't want to deal with the time zone difference.
Fair enough.
When it was like, then we talked a little bit more. Then he did like some almost like quiz questions to see if I was actually in the media of the game, pretty much. And then it's like, okay, let's just try out. Then I did. The guys really liked me and they liked the way I am. I'm just straight up with like things. They know I'll just in practice I'll just pause in game. I'll just call out, just stop the bullshit, guys. Like we need to be better than this. Like, or what is this? Our communication's like not there right now. Like this guy, like what are you doing? Like we need to be more focused. Like stop eating meat rack. Focus. And I'll be like,
hey pop.
yeah, I'll just be screaming at them like, say pop, until they got it. Because every time they didn't call it, I was the guy screaming pop in their head. So
They're just like,
they would know
fuck?
fuck, I forgot
Yeah.
fuck, I forgot about it. And then yeah, but we really have a really nice relationship. Everyone in the team, between us, all of the management, the owners, everyone, we really like each other. We believe in each other. Even we believe in the organization believe in us. So it's really just a really good combo for us as a team, and just having now to work with the guys who believe in me and actually listen to my ideas. And when I say something is wrong, they actually okay, yeah, you're right. Because nowadays, we have to. Of course, it's a joke rule, but they always say to them, you guys know I'm always right. The coach is always right. And we all laugh together. But funny thing is, most of the times I'm actually right about things that we're doing wrong, or like even yesterday on their T side on Anubis, every single aggression they did against us in the round, I just called it in the pause. I just said, okay, guys, they're gonna do this or this. When they were just ready for it, and we just counter it because I have a really good feel for the game in general. I kind of know I have a good read. So just when I was playing, I always had a good read about things happening and a good like game sense about things happening. So I just pretty much just called the entire T side up pretty much with Matt, just me like, oh, Matt, I think they're gonna do this, and just be ready to react here and like things like that. Uh, Even I think the last round, they had a low buy, and I said, Matt, they did aggression B, they did a low aggression on A, they did a 2-man push on E box, and they never did mid, and they never did a late crunch on water. That's the two things they never did this half. So that be ready for these two things. So we played passive, and what happens? Late round they do a late crunch on water, and we just
You're
ready
there
to
just
win B.
like, you're like, Europe, here I come.
Yeah, people are like, damn. We're always joking like, I'm cooking, or they say I'm cooking, guys, and shit, and when we just laugh about it. So yeah, we have a really nice relationship. We trust each other a lot. If someone has an idea in the team, we listen. Um, the only guy, we have to lower his cook methods there is Brad. He's kind of crazy sometimes, but he has some funny ideas sometimes.
Funny.
But he has some great ones also. And sometimes we do use his funny ideas, man. His crazy ideas. It works.
Gimmicks.
I always say even when you're playing against a crazy team and they get mad at the team that if they do some crazy Russian catches off guard, I say, guys, it's not their fault they're doing this. It's our fault that we didn't punish it correctly. I said,
Yeah.
it's weird playing like shit. If we can't punish guys doing something crazy, it's because our default's bad. We're doing it bad.
Yeah.
And when they okay, you're right. And then we do it again, and we start to work on things again. So that's pretty much how the team works with me, and I'm straight up to them. They're straight up to me, and we just work together. We have the same mindset of just improving. If people had an idea on how bad we were this last 2 weeks on practice, we did have a small break in the. I don't remember. Yeah, but we came back in the 4th of this month. So we did a break in the 26th last month until the 4th. So it was pretty much a week break almost.
Okay.
We needed to do a break. We were just playing straight up like for a month or something without breaks.
Yeah, you always
and
do.
Some people already had things had things scheduled for that dates, and so like, okay, let's do a week break, like a little small vacation. You know, we don't give ourselves the luxury of having vacations. We just like did this small one, and okay, back to grinding. The problem was when we came back to grind, felt like we didn't know how to play anymore. Counter-Strike. We just forgot everything. We didn't know how to play as a team anymore. We were just doing individual plays, bad decision making every single time. It was everyone. The team was just doing bad decisions. Me and Jeremy were like, "Oh my god, we shouldn't have done the fucking break before the tournament." Then I had a really honest talk to the guys one day. I said, "Guys, we're horrible right now." I said, "We suck." We like, and he said, "We know." And it's like, okay, if you guys know that I'm gonna talk honest to you guys, and I'm gonna just talk about every single one of them. Is that, guys, you're gonna do this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. So our decision making, we're not thinking as a team. Our decision making right now, we're thinking you're in an FPL game and we need to kill people to show on stream or something. We're not thinking as a team. We gotta be smarter about things. We gotta make the right decision. So I said to them, sometimes getting that kill is not important. You staying alive is a lot more important than trying to get a kill here. Then I think we had this talk. Things got a little bit better, but it's not the best. Then we saw our biggest problem was the communication. Our communication was just off. We were just not talking enough. Things were just like getting lost in mid comms and things like that. And actually, we joke about it, but I'm actually honest about it. We all bought a game on Steam that's 49 cents. It's called Bean Battles. It's a funny game that is a PvP game.
I know about this, yeah.
Things like that. And what we did was, one day we said, we need to play something different today. And we ended prac short, and we said, let's play Bean Battles, guys. Everyone bought it. We went to the server. Not everyone wanted to play. It's like, no, everyone is playing this game, or you're throwing nades every single piece around. And then everyone joined up. We joined up. We did 3 duos. So it was me and Brad, Cryptic and Freshy, and Darty and Sly. And we did that small tournament between us. Because it's literally like a kind of arena shooter.
Yeah, yeah.
And we just did a small tournament. Was like we played for 3 hours. I think we played like for a long time, but we had so much fun that, and we were try harding so much that we split the calls on TeamSpeak. So we had 2 guys in one room, 2 guys in the other, and 2 guys in the other, and we fully try harded that. Everyone was try harding for their lives, wanting to win the small tournament.
Battles.
Right? Bean battles. We were taking it fully seriously. So when it ended, we were more. Guys, this is the fucking communication we need in Counter-Strike. Like, that's it. This is the level of try hard that we fucking need in our practice. I said. So after that, I swear to God, next day of practice, I'm not gonna say the team, but is a really good NA team. We 18-12 first game.
Ooh.
And 25-5 the second game. And we're like, we're back. It's like that. It's like Bean Battles, guys. It was the Bean Battles, and then everyone's like, now every time we think we're slow in communication, or like we think we're like maybe lacking a little bit of info, we always say Bean Battles communication, Bean Battles communication, and we're just like, we just pause it and say, guys, Bean Battles communication, focus up, we got this shit, and then we just like, it works, and it fucking worked for us. So I think we actually saw the importance of doing something together and getting a bit more team bonding outside of Counter-Strike. And nowadays we play Bean Battle, we play Pummel Party together.
Yeah.
It's like, and it gets competitive. and I love it. I think the guys also enjoy it a lot. So it just I said I told Jeremy before the tournament, Jeremy, I think we're gonna win this, and I think Bean Battles saved us. I said, bro, I said, we're gonna see it in the day. I was like, bro, trust me. You can ask Jeremy yourself this. I said, no, trust me. Bean Battle saved us, and then we went and we won. And after we won yesterday, I messaged Jeremy because we were all talking. This was our message in TeamSpeak. Like I told you, Bean Battle saved us, and we started laughing. But
That is,
it actually, for real, I think getting that team bonding and outside with the Counter Strike, it helps a lot as a team. You should feel well, and you should feel like you want to be around your guys, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like in this team, everyone everyone's enjoy being a part of it. Everyone's enjoying being with each other. So we can have these kind of moments. Even we love having Jeremy on our practice. Jeremy's always on our practice. We always like having fun and just like joking with him. And he hates when people are eating mid prac, so he's always screaming at people when someone's eating and he's chewing their mic. And so we always like joking with him about it. So it's great. I
Yeah,
haven't, like I said, these guys, bro, they for sure they gave me back a lot of my soul that I think I lost
it's good.
in the past in Counter Strike. I just enjoy being there with them. I enjoy being a part of them. I enjoy, you know, when it's time to prac and it's coming time to prac. I enjoy looking at my phone and okay, nice, it's time to
That's
next time to go. Right? So it's not it's not the thing where some people, as I know some people have this, that it's time to prac, like they want
yeah.
to practice today. Nah, I think today in our team, I have a feeling that everyone's wants to fucking go there and do the shit. And one guy in specific that I have the utmost respect and love is Brett. This guy is fighting cancer. He's fighting cancer, man,
Holy shit!
and
What?
he plays so fucking well. Yeah, I spoke a little bit about this publicly, but I even posted on my Twitter. He's fighting cancer. He's doing really well, and don't worry about it. Everyone can be just, you know, can always a bit more hope towards him, but he's doing really well. Uh, but for sure, you know, bro, the weeks he has chemo and when he comes to prac after it, this guy is a warrior, man. I give Brett all the fucking prop in the world, man. He's an amazing player. I think everyone saw his impact. Actually, even the commentators in the game saw how impactful he is for us in the team.
He was
So
unreal in the
I can't,
semis that we watched. He was so
yeah,
good.
I can't imagine the level of our team that we can reach when everyone's 100%. So hopefully, I think by last month or so, I think we're gonna have really good news about him. And we're gonna be able to do everything 100%. I can just see, man. You can see when someone is feeling tired and feeling like, you know, just having pain, and I can see in him a lot of times when we're practicing that he's like not, but he's still the happiest guy in the team. He's still like making a lot of jokes. He's still like being positive and being just super impactful in the game. So I give props for everyone in the team, but I think everyone in the team also understands that Brett is just unreal, man.
He's a
He's unreal.
machine.
This guy is he's absolutely a machine. He's one of the best persons I know. I don't even have words for this guy, man. He's amazing.
That's insane, and that's so good to hear as well. And I think nowadays a lot of teams don't have that chemistry like they used to, and a big part of that is because like Vitality brought in this crazy roster. They won the major, and everyone's like, okay, put him in, put him
So
in, put him in. But like, I think having a good chemistry, like you said, honestly, like as you guys came into that tournament, realistically, you probably shouldn't have won it if you look at like the other teams, but you guys did, and that's and there's more to say about that. That you guys are maybe don't have the experience of the others. However, you did it because of the team chemistry and because you guys work together. And that's going to be something I'm really interested to now coming towards the end of this interview, because I feel like we could talk for, I could genuinely ask like 20 more questions, but I think as we're here an hour and a half in, we should probably come towards this. Is actually my longest interview ever now at this stage. Final question. We were talking about the chemistry and we were talking about you've done a lot, you've traveled a lot, and this is something that a lot of your players I don't think would have experienced really at all. Maybe like the RMR for Brett, the odd Fragadelphia here and there. You're now going to be going to Europe. whatever happens in Europe, like I don't know how long you guys are going to be there for, but do you feel like because you've done all of this now, you're going to be able to help your guys so much more when it comes to the stage of like, okay, we're going to Europe together, we're going to be probably on a LAN, and we're going to have like all this different stuff and maybe and whatever. Like, do you think you're going to be able to help them because you actually have that experience as a player?
Oh, not only me, for sure. Jeremy also. Jeremy worked for over 3 years for European teams and European organizations. He travels a
Yeah,
lot towards Europe also. So for me and him, I think we're a great team, and for sure, just having this, both of us having this experience of how to deal with travel a bit more than
yeah,
them, and just the land scenario and things like that. Uh, I'm not worried about like land pressure or anything like that with them because they play like Philadelphia and things like that. The people are
yeah.
screaming a lot more than in the tier 1 or tier 2 land.
Not
So
an epic LAN. Got
I
nothing.
don't
It
worry
hasn't
about.
got shit on an epic LAN.
Yeah, probably not. But uh, but in general, like I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about the travel and things like that, and you guys getting used to like time zones and things like that. But for sure, we're gonna work it out. Me and Jeremy are gonna figure out a way to make the guys feel better in the fastest way possible. Not gonna sweat it too much about it. The guys also like some of them travel a little bit more than others, but the other things, everything's gonna be fine. We're probably gonna do a boot camp also before the tournament.
In
We're
Europe?
ready. Yeah, in Europe, we're gonna manage to do a boot camp thanks to Ben and Griff, or owners. Already seeing where, deciding between two places. You already checked out for a few months, and we should be doing. I think it should be a 15 or 20-day boot camp in Europe. So it's gonna be a
Ooh.
good amount of days. Uh, yeah, so just really glad to have the organization behind us and really believe in us with that amount of support. So yeah, of course we know the tournament is the main tournament is gonna be really fucking hard. For not having experience against these kind of teams in general in this kind of scenario. We do prac against EU teams a few days a week. We actually do that in the team. We are
How does that
playing
work?
in London servers with 100 ping, everyone, and
Mhm.
we just play, bro. We don't care about the results. We just care what we see and how people react to what we do, so we can be about more ready for European CS. That's something me and Jeremy we thought about, and we were doing it, and the guys like it, and we can see results. I think like our Anubis there, or Anubis or Inferno, it's really strong because of it. For sure, we just see how other good European teams react to things that happen in the map, and the guys start to learn from it because they see them themselves, not by a demo, but experiencing it. Even though if you play for 100 ping, sometimes we do really well against these good
100
European
ping's
teams,
not
even
that
if we're
bad. I'll
lagging.
say 100 ping is not that bad.
It's like 100. I think. I think I think Adam has the best thing. Adam has 100, and the other guys have like 130, 120. It's like playable. I think until
Yeah.
140, it's like okay. It's of course against higher tier teams, it's really hard to play against. But in general, we are trying everything we can do to be better. We are fucking doing it pretty much. We grind a lot. People watch a lot of demos. The guys bring always new stuff. They're always thinking about new things to do. I'm just super proud of them. I told them this against Nouns, after we won against Nouns. I told them yesterday I'm super proud and I'm super happy that they gave me this chance to be with them. Uh, I'm just really excited for the future of this team. I really feel this team could be a future NA force, and that we could develop and be a really good competition in the future. I'm not gonna say we're gonna be beating EU teams left and right, but I think we can cause some problems for some of them for sure. Be annoying, and we're gonna prepare the best we can for this tournament. We want to come up and show up that NACS can still do some things and show up to big lands, and for sure we are excited for CS2.
Yeah.
Really
Oh,
excited.
perfect. I think that is the best way to end it because I'm so excited to see you guys in Europe. I can't wait to see you guys in that main tournament. And I think it's going to be so cool just to see you like boot camping in different European tournaments and seeing, and like for you guys as well, that's going to be an opportunity that the individuals might not get too much. But because you get it now, it's going to allow you guys to get more in the future because you'll be progressing upwards. And yeah, it's been a one hell of an interview. I think we've had like we've gone full circle and everything. Like this has been
For sure.
maybe one of my favorite interviews I think I've ever done, and I'm saying that like comfortably. It's been such an honor talking to you, someone I would have grown up watching, especially in someone like the INTZ rosters. And thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for anyone who's watching till the end. And I hope everyone has a lovely evening. I hope, Horvy, you have a lovely evening, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of In the Crosshair.